Hey there! You're listening to Amplify Your Legacy. This podcast is packed with insights and strategies to turn your passion into something that endures for generations. So get comfortable, stay inspired, and let's jump into today's episode with your host, Salana Brown. Welcome back to the Amplify Your Legacy podcast. I'm your host, Salana Brown, and this episode is brought to you by Home Club Capital, your nationwide private funding partner for your real estate investments. Learn more at homeclubcapital.com. I'm so excited today about our guest. We're sitting here with Carla Blake, an authoress, publisher, and all-around inspiration who was born and raised in South Carolina. Carla's story is one of resilience, faith, and finding purpose in the face of adversity. From navigating relationship challenges to overcoming health scares and even launching her own publishing business, Carla has truly transformed her pain into purpose. And today we'll explore her journey, her writing process, and the powerful lessons she's learned along the way. Carla, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and the work that you're doing? I know you got a lot going on, your books, your new publishing business, and so much more. Give us a quick snapshot of where you are today and what's keeping you busy.
So today, I'm still on a mission to continue to share and tell my story. I've been a published author since 2019, and so far have published and written 3 books. I'm on a mission
Lovely.
to continue to write many more books and continue to share my message. But on this journey as well, I want to continue to help others, which is what led me to today, where I've started my own publishing company in January of this year. So I'm looking forward to meeting new authors, writers, and also writing more books. So
Oh,
I'm excited.
wonderful. I do want to ask you about your journey. When did you get started in writing? What inspired you? And how has your journey evolved over the years, since writing from childhood, right? That's incredible in itself. But I know it wasn't a straight path. What pulled you back to writing as an author, and how did that passion evolve?
So this journey started at a very early age. I gained a passion for writing and for reading books just about in kindergarten, if not before then. And so ever since then, I started journaling and beginning to share my thoughts and my feelings inside of those books. And so those books, or those journals, excuse me, ended up turning into my first 2 books. And as you mentioned just a while ago, that my story hasn't been easy. My journey hasn't been easy. And so I faced a lot of challenges. And just in, I'll say from 2012 and up, it's been up and down. My spiritual journey with God has always been something I've held dear to me. From a young age, I was always introduced to God, and I was always in church, and I was always growing up and around church people in a church home. And so from then, I ended up basically having to find my own path and find my own connection to God. It really helped propel me to where I am now. And ever since then, it's just taken off. So
That's great. Sometimes there's an aha moment when everything clicks for us. Do you have one of those, or was it something gradual? You said, your spiritual journey awakened a lot of things for you. Was that the specific moment when you realized writing was your true passion?
I would say yes. It wasn't until just about after my baptism that I ended up getting an awakening to actually pursue writing books. For a while, I just was really passionate about just journaling and just like really taking my thoughts and my feelings and just writing them down on paper. But I always felt like in my heart I was supposed to just do more. So I ended up turning those into books, and I desired to do more. And yeah, I'll say like just about into the year 2020, I ended up having a medical diagnosis. And so that was another awakening for me, because I kind of was at that point just realizing that, life is, very important. It's very precious. And so I wanted to continue to do things that were fulfilling in my life.
That's great. I
Mhm,
mean, it's one thing to go through it, but turning the pain into something meaningful really takes
mhm,
strength. You faced a lot of incredible and difficult moments, relationship struggles,
mhm,
trauma of sexual assault in 2013. That became one of the most challenging events of your journey.
mhm,
And losing your father in 2021, which I can
mhm.
totally relate because I lost my father in 2020.
Yeah.
But through these adversities, you became stronger, and you
Mhm.
realize how much you've been neglecting your spiritual well being. Um, have any of those experiences also strengthened your passion and your purpose?
Most definitely. Um, so the situation that when that happened in 2013, it took a while for me to really overcome that. Not a lot of people knew about it, and I was really careful about how I moved forward in my life. But um, that situation definitely helped catapult me into my womanhood, because I realized then that I was like, if I can overcome that, I can definitely, overcome almost anything, is how I looked at it. And so I looked at myself as like a very fierce, like, lion. Like a lion is like one of my favorite animals, also butterflies, birds.
Okay.
I found a huge connection to nature. And so, looking at those moments, and even in 2021 when my father passed, um, it was definitely something that took a while to overcome on that
Mhm.
one. So I was very close to my father, and so trying to overcome that and continuing to build onto who I am as an author, who I am as a person, as a woman, was something that will always stay with me. Those moments definitely are big things that happen. So.
How did that or those challenges change the direction of your life and your writing?
I will say that those moments helped me to be more intentional and purposeful in my writing. I used to just kind of write for fun, but when those certain situations or moments happen, I started looking at things more, intentional, looking at the true meaning of everything around me. So,
I love it.
mhm,
Carla, through it all, you chose to turn your pain into purpose. I'm going to
mhm,
keep saying that because I noticed that about you.
mhm,
And your first book, Learning Through Poetry, was a major turning point in your
mhm,
writing because that's one of the ones that you published, correct?
mhm.
What gave you the courage to put all of that out into the world?
I tell you, I think it wasn't until about like maybe end of 2017 or maybe in the beginning of 2018. I was just sitting and thinking. I was like, there's so much more that I could be doing. There's so much more that I could be pushing or giving to not only myself but to those around me and to the world. And so I ended up learning eventually, later in life, that your purpose is never just for you, it's for the people, it's for many others. And so I was like, if I'm not writing, if I'm not, sharing this, this message, or something that I may think is so small could be so big to
Okay.
someone else. And so it was at that moment I was like, yeah, this is going to have to be something to publish, to share with others. So,
I agree.
mhm,
A lot of people that you know, and a lot of people I know, they dream of writing a book, but they never take that step. What pushed you to finally saying, I'm doing this?
I have to say, really tapping into my purpose, and also just realizing that tomorrow is not promised. So if I, you know, don't get it done today, then there's maybe not an opportunity or a chance to get it done tomorrow. And I try to always make sure I'm telling myself that. I didn't always used to look at life that way, but now I do. So it's very important that I walk intentionally and move intentionally in everything.
Yes, totally agree.
Mhm.
Writing is creative, but publishing is a business. How do you
Mhm.
keep those two worlds from clashing?
That's been a challenge, I tell you. God is definitely he's still he as he told me years ago, and this was in 2022, that he told me to even start the business. He gave me a vision, a dream about how to go about it, and gave me a name. And I was real hesitant on it, and I didn't know how I was going to go about it or how I was going to move forward. He just said start it, and so I was like, you know what? It wasn't until December last year that I was like, okay. I was like, I just need to get moving because God showed me another dream. He showed me another vision of what would happen if I didn't start it. And so I was like, I'm just going to have to go forward. So trying to find the transition in between everything that I do is not easy, but I know God is going to definitely organize it all. He's going to definitely, keep it, seamless through the whole process. So.
Well, I totally agree. And having that faith and that trust is wonderful.
Mhm.
So for someone listening now, maybe an inspiring publisher, an inspiring uh, author, give us some tips on how you balance creativity and business as both an author and a publisher. How does that work for you?
For me, I prioritize the best I can. I definitely learned from a lot of people in my family, a lot of people in my church family who do this. Who the way they do it, it seems like it's effortless. They do it so easy, and so having those examples around me, my brother, my sisters, my sister, excuse me, and my brothers, and also people in the church who I get to see run business. That's what inspires me to continue to keep pushing. I do want to tell those who do aspire to do these things that I do is to just do it. That's the biggest way I can just, say that is just get up and do it because you never know, what would happen or if you didn't or if you wake up or don't wake up tomorrow and then you're going to wonder like what would happen if I never started or how many people could I have helped. And so
Mhm.
that's what I try to keep in my mind is like, remember the people that you're trying to help. Remember to prioritize, those things. And so I try to make sure as I move that I prioritize and make sure that I'm keeping the things that God wants me to do first, and keeping the things that I know that will be the best for me, the head. So,
Since you walked the road yourself, what, I guess, advice would you give someone who needs to start using their voice because their story matters? What advice would you give them?
mm, you know, I remember when, and I'm going to say this because I feel like it would help my answer, but I remember when I felt like I was like under a rock, like when I felt like I was in a shell and couldn't voice what I was going through or couldn't voice like, my story. And I always felt like a part of me was like maybe doing too much or maybe nobody would understand. But to those who feel like they don't know how to step over that threshold, just remember that there's other people like me, other people like them as well, that have important stories to tell, and that stepping across that threshold and stepping and just taking that leap of faith to do so, um, you'll be helping someone. And so helping people is the biggest, one of the biggest things in my heart. And so if, if I can help someone with my story and encourage others, I'm hoping that someone else will listen to this and say, hey, I can do it too, or I can tell my story too.
Oh, totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you on that one. This podcast is about legacy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk to you about family legacies because family legacies can be powerful. Do you have anyone in your life that inspired your creative or entrepreneurial spirit?
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. My family has always been very close, and especially being my siblings and my mother and father, my late father. So I've always looked up to them, how they carry themselves, how they walk out their lifestyles, and how they continue to remain humble and graceful through everything. Um, it's not an easy trait to hold, or easy trait to even carry on daily, and they do it very well. And so I thank God that I have that next to me and have that within me to be able to, like, push on into my children one day. And so definitely I owe that, to God first, and then definitely my close family.
I love that.
Mhm.
That's good. I also love the saying, be the first, pave the way. Are you the first in your family to become an author or a business owner?
Not the first. I wish I was, but not the first. So there's a lot, many people in my, not just my Blake family, but people who are related to the Blakes, who have became entrepreneurs on before me. In my immediate family, it would be my brother, Benjamin Blake. He has done a fantastic job at upholding his own gym in Anderson, South Carolina. And so it's going on over 5 years now.
Oh,
And
congratulations.
my sister, she's a realtor, and my other brother is a personal trainer. And they all three inspire me to continue to keep pushing in my business. And so, yeah, I've also have other authors in the family. I don't know all of them, but there is one particular great uncle that passed on a few years ago, and he left me some books that he had written, and so I'm
Are they
working on doing some
published?
things with that.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. And that's one of the things that I tell writers. Don't just write it, publish it. A lot of
Yes,
people have stories that they're holding on to. It, we need to know. We need to hear
mhm.
it. We need to read it.
Yes, most
Share
definitely.
it with the world. It's fascinating how our stories, our values, our lessons that are passed down from our families and that stays in generations, how they stick with us. Do you know, or can you remember one lesson or story that has been passed down through your family?
Mm, I'll say something that comes to mind is something my oldest brother told me, that was told to him. And there's many life lessons I learned through many people in my family. One thing that was shared with him was to keep pushing the plow. So basically, like a plow that you see like in a garden, um, or that they use to garden. So that was something that was instilled in him, something that was told to him. And so I remember when I heard that, I was, I try to always remember to keep going, to keep pushing forward, because again, you'll never know how far you may get if you don't. So that's something
So
I'm gonna
true.
keep with me. Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that.
Hmm.
Um, and I love the family stories that I
Hmm.
often hear. Could you share your perspective on legacy? I know that you use the hashtag imprint left by Blake. I
Hmm.
love that. How do you see yourself intentionally building your legacy right now? And what is your imprint that you're hoping to leave?
Um, so to me, legacy means so much. Family means so much to me. Um, to know that there was, like I said, my family is very close. But to know that there has been, great people in my life, loving people in my life to leave things and instill things in me. Those qualities, those characteristics, still are embedded in me. And so to hold on to something so precious, to hold on to something like that, it means a lot. And so I don't have children yet, but I do want to make sure that I instill that in them. Um, I use that hashtag, and I appreciate you bringing that up. That hashtag I think I started that because I look at being an author like it's not just writing for me. It's like it's so much more. And so I think about, what are you writing, or what are you doing with your time, or what are you doing in your day to help leave an impact on tomorrow, to the future generations. And so I started doing a hashtag and started doing Imprint Left by Blake, and yeah, I just think it's important for people to see, like, hey, she left this imprint. Her children, my children, God willing, will see it. My nieces and nephews, I love them. And so I think about, if they get online and see this, I'm like, they're going to be like, wow, Auntie, left this great imprint in the earth, and so I pray that continues to, leave inside of them and stay with them, and that even after that, that they'll continue to do great things even after I'm gone. So
I love that. I love that hashtag. You've dealt with some serious health challenges, brain scans, a cancer scare, and more.
mhm.
How do you stay inspired and connected to your creativity during those difficult times?
Those moments definitely help light a flame under me, is how I look at it. Um, Back in 2020, um, they told me I had a DVA, which is nothing, major, but it's just like kind of like a large brain, um, not vessel, like a large vein on the brain. And so even though it was nothing life threatening, I looked at that and was like, tomorrow is not promised. I had to keep moving. And, later on, I ended up um, getting diagnosed with sleep apnea. And a short time before that, I ended up having I kind of chuckle about it now. I had a cancer scare. Not a lot of people know about that. And so I'm truly blessed. I just can't explain it. I'm blessed. And so I try not to complain. I try not to worry about life,
Mhm.
because God has like truly blessed me. So,
Wonderful.
mhm.
That's truly wonderful to hear. And all of your health scares or problems are okay right now?
Yes, yes, most definitely. I'm in a way better place, and like I said, my oldest brother has a gym, and so he's definitely someone who helps push me in my health goals and helps keep me encouraged, and trying to be a overall healthier person. So,
I
yes, ma'am.
love that. I
Hmm.
love that he helps motivate you because it's easy to lose motivation when you're facing those health struggles.
Hmm.
And he's the way that keeps you going, keeps you is he keeping you writing and keeping you
Hmm.
creative as well?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. All my family are they're very dear to me. They keep me inspired. Just either whether I'm seeing them walking around, or just hearing their voice, or just like I mentioned earlier, that nature inspires me. Like all these things, kind of collectively, just keep me going. Yeah.
That's great to hear. As a writer, we all know and we all hear imposter syndrome. We know it's real,
Hmm.
even for the best writers. How did you work through those moments of doubt? Have you ever struggled with self doubt in your writing journey? And what keeps you pushing through?
Yeah, I've experienced that quite often throughout my writing journey. On whether I could just keep going, or whether I should be writing this, or would it be, purposeful or help somebody. It has definitely been, something that kind of became almost like a challenge to me over the years. But um, trying to get up and go again, I truly and solely owe that to God to continue to keep picking me up. He's the source of everything that I've done, and the source of any and everything I'm going to do. And so he's upheld me and kept me going throughout the years.
Awesome.
Mhm.
You've been writing for so many years. What a rewarding career that you have.
Mhm.
What has been the most rewarding moment in your writing career so far?
Mm. I would have to say writing my first book, because it still surprises me that I actually did that, because um, when I put the first book together, it wasn't even supposed to be like what it was. But yeah, I would have to say, like, even when I published my first one in 2019, that was probably the most rewarding. Yeah.
Really? Okay, that's great.
Mhm.
Authors get so many rewards, whether it's that first published book, reviews, editorial reviews. And I think all of those messages helps us move forward, and it impacts us in a way that a lot of people wouldn't realize. What message or impact do you hope readers would take away from the books that you're writing? If someone puts down your book, what's that one thing you hope will stay with them?
Um, my truest hope is that they get inspired to keep moving, and that they get inspired to could continue to walk their faith out with God, because that is the centering, the center of everything that I've done, is what God has done for me. And so um, anybody who picks up one of my books, I want them to stay inspired, and stay on a faith driven path, with God. And so that's my hope.
Okay. Yes, that's amazing. And if you can sit down with your younger self,
Mhm.
what advice would you give her about writing and just navigating this life? Imagine you can go back to your younger version of Carla. What would you say to her?
I would definitely tell that girl that she's beautiful and that she better keep going. Yeah, I can't even tell you how many times that I felt like discouraged, or felt like I couldn't keep, you know, keep up with life. And so I would definitely tell her, I was like, yeah, you are a queen and you're beautiful, and don't ever let anybody tear you down. Keep going.
I love
Yeah.
it. That's really important for us to tell ourselves and to tell others as well. So, what practical step can listeners take to start building something unique, whether it's, just writing or whether it's publishing? What would you advise them?
Um, I would advise them to just write. Yeah, just write. Just write the vision down. This is in the Bible. Just write the vision down and make it plain. So I would just tell them and advise them to just write.
That's great because
Hmm.
some legacy feels big and overwhelming, but
Hmm.
it doesn't have to be. One step at a time is what I always tell people.
Hmm.
Um, so that's great. Something tangible that they can do. They can start today and start
Hmm.
creating their own legacy.
Yeah.
You've got a new publishing business.
Hmm.
Can you tell us about that and the services that you provide?
Yes. So the publishing business is called Written Imprints Publishing and Services, and so I ended up creating this business so that way I can help authors and aspiring writers, authors, and also others who desire to just not only write, but those who desire to read, those who desire to publish their work or leave a legacy or imprint in the earth. That is what my whole purpose in that business is. And I also want to help authors feel, validated. Excuse me. I want to make them feel important. And so some of the services I offer is helping authors, have those the encouraging support, or helping them have reliable or even affordable services that they can access to be able to publish books. And sometimes people need the support even after. And so I'm
Oh,
offering
certainly.
services to help authors even after they publish a book. So,
That's great. And that's a huge step
mhm,
from going to author to publisher. Um,
mhm,
so many services out there already aren't reliable. So I appreciate you saying that word, because this is something a lot of services people offer. They're here today and they're gone tomorrow.
mhm,
So making your business something that lasts and something available for everybody is wonderful. That's a great thing. Can you share any upcoming projects or goals that you're working on for the future? What's next for Carla Blake?
I am working on some books. I have been working on one for the past couple of months. I'm also working on. I can't say too much about it yet because it's still being worked on. And this is something I'm working not necessarily in my business, but it's something that I'm doing as kind of like my author from that title. And so I'm working on creating a fair, an author fair with someone else. So
Oh,
that's in
lovely.
the works for the end of the year. So
Okay, so it would be for fall or winter. When are you thinking about that?
yeah, it'll be in the fall.
Okay,
Yeah.
lovely. Oh, definitely keep me updated on that.
Okay.
What is one thing you wish more people knew about the writing process or just about the business of publishing? I know it's not a glamorous profession. What's one truth about the writing process that you wish more people understood?
Um, I think a lot of people, well, some of them do understand, but I think a lot of people don't understand how much work behind the scenes it takes to get a book out. It's not just like writing on paper; like you're mentally like collecting these thoughts and it's not easy at times, especially when you're going through life experiences like as I have, and or if you're just going through the everyday motions. Like it's not easy trying to get that onto paper or get that
Yeah.
onto a document just to type it up. It's not easy. But I
Yeah.
wish more under people would understand the timing and the behind the scenes that goes on in that.
Yeah. And it's so many pieces of the puzzle that you have to put together,
Yes.
especially for self publishers.
Hmm.
Yeah, you really have to have a plan, especially the launching plan and the marketing. You really have to really go above and beyond to get your work out there. Have you had any um, problems with the marketing and the launching of any of your books?
um I haven't had well, I will say there's been challenges, of course. There was sometimes that I might have like, especially with my first book, I'll say I faced a
It's
few
definitely a
issues.
learning curve.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. And so there was definitely some challenges, but I took those and I learned from them. Um, Definitely appreciate all those who definitely helped sow into me to help get me my books, get my first books published. Because I took all that information, I just kind of like stored it and was like, okay, I can use this, in the future. So yeah, it was a learning lesson.
So, for anyone listening who wants to connect with you, where can they find you online?
For those who are listening, you can stay connected with me on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. You can also stay connected by email, phone, or in person. Also, I love meeting new people. So definitely, if you desire to meet me in person, I'm okay with that as well. Um, I'm on Facebook and Instagram as written imprints, and also in my first name and last name is Carla Blake. So they can follow me on there. Thank you. I appreciate you for having me.
Your story is incredible, not just because of what you've been through, but because you have turned it into purpose. I know so many people listening are going to feel inspired to pick up a pen or maybe even rethink what happiness means to them. Thank you for being so open and generous with your story. For everyone listening, don't forget today's sponsor is Home Club Capital. your nationwide private funding partner for your real estate investments. Visit homeclubcapital.com to learn more. Make sure you check out Carla's books. They're truly inspiring. And keep an eye out for her publishing services. Carla is just getting started. Until next time, know that your best is yet to come. Take care. That's all for this episode of Amplify Your Legacy. A huge thank you for listening in today. I hope today's conversation has sparked some reflection on your own legacy. Let's keep the conversation going. Connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram at Solana Brown. And visit solanabrown.com for more resources on growing and preserving your legacy. Be sure to leave a rating or review. It helps others discover the show. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out on future episodes packed with inspiration and actionable strategies. Until next time, keep amplifying your legacy.